Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be an update on my These Products Will Self-Destruct, which is similar to a chopping block series. We're talking about really old makeup products and whether or not I'm ready to let them go. I was inspired to rename a similar video format by It's Just Steph, who was inspired by a video that I did on my second channel related to books. So Steph and I are just chasing this idea around from each other, I guess. I have my oldest cream and liquid products we're going to be chatting about. Two that I saved from the series I did last year in 2023, and this is their last hurrah. The 10 remaining oldest cream or liquid products in my collection, and then the 5 oldest powder products that are obviously not officially expired. They're still performing fine. The texture, the color, consistency hasn't changed too much. They don't smell anything like that, but I have some goals to meet if I want to save some. We'll get into it. I did my first These Products Will Self-Destruct, which I will link in the cards, at around the midway point in the year, so I wanted to check in now before we're doing the official decluttering come December. I have some insights, some goals I've met that I'm going to share with you today, but let's start with the 2 products I saved from last year. The first is my ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Kathleen Lights. This is in my Rolling Project 10 pan with the goal to finish it. I have used this about 25 times this year. There is no way I'm going to actually finish this product, but it is the very oldest Super Shock Shadow I have in my collection, and it has gotten a lot of use, a lot of love from me. So come December, this will be getting thrown in the trash, and I know it's not going to be an official empty, and I'm okay with that. I'm not ready to throw it in the trash right now because I'm still enjoying using it. Last year I also saved my Lord & Berry Nude Lip Liner. I used this consistently last year, and then also almost every time I've done my makeup this year. I have a very small pencil left. I feel very confident that I will be able to finish this off before the end of the year, and then it will be an official makeup empty. I keep saying that I don't know how far down the actual lip liner product goes into this component, but we are at the point where I have to hold it with my very tips of my fingers in order to turn it in my sharpener, and we're almost getting lost in the cap. I try not to really push it in there so I can get it out again. So we are right at the end of the line with this one, which is really exciting. Next up, we're going to go over the next 10 oldest cream and liquid products in my entire makeup collection. The rule with these ones is I'm allowed to save out 2 from the 10 with the goal to finish them in the following year. So I just shared the 2 products I did that with last year. Let's go through the 10 products, kind of my thoughts and feelings, where I stand. We're at the point in the year where I really have, I believe, made a decision on the 2 products I think I'm going to save and try and finish next year. Products that I still enjoy using, maybe they're a higher value and I don't feel like I got my money's worth if I don't finish it up versus something like a drugstore product. Let's go through them. I have in this lineup 4 Super Shock Shadows. So 5 of the 12 oldest cream and liquid products in my collection are old Super Shock Shadows. This is back when ColourPop only had Super Shock Shadows, lippy pencils, and lippy sticks. I love ColourPop right from the beginning, I feel like. So I have 4 more, and I was really tempted to keep the shade Couche, which I'm working on in my Graveyard Project pan for 10 uses. Spoiler for that, I have used this over 10 times, and I love this shade. It's a very icy purple. It's so beautiful and reflective. However, the formula is not the same. The Kathleen Lights shade I shared with you, formula feels exactly like it always had. Super creamy and bouncy, and this is feeling dry. It still works now, but I don't think I want to really focus on this for all of 2025. A shade that is still very creamy is this matte navy shade. This is the shade Baby Tea. I have used this twice this year. I do have a pan in this shade as well, and it's beautiful. It's still creamy, but this is not a super shock shadow I'm interested in trying to pan to completion. I'm having a hard time with one of my very favorite shades, and this is not that. So at the end of the year, this is another one I will be ready to let go of. And then I also have Porter and Telepathy, also in collaboration with Kathleen Lights. These were in the second quad that she did. I do have a pan on Porter. This is a metallic. That's what it says on the packaging, but I don't find it to be a metallic. This is kind of similar to their newer sequin shade where it feels matte with just some shimmer particles. It's kind of this burgundy shade, very beautiful. I do have a pan in it, but again, not a shade that I feel I can finish. And then I have Telepathy, which surprisingly does not have a pan, though I have used it a lot in its lifetime with me. This is something that maybe I will try and hit pan on it before the end of the year just to say that I did it. But again, I'm feeling ready to let these go. I still really love the Super Shock formula, but these are 6, 7 maybe years old. It's time. One I'm really considering keeping. This is an eyeliner, and I've been using it quite a lot, though it's not in any project. This is the Smashbox Always Sharp Waterproof Kohl Liner in the shade Penny Lane, which is a beautiful copper. This is so beautiful in the waterline. It stays for quite a long time. It's also good to smudge on like my upper lash line, and I'm really enjoying using this. However, the packaging is such that I cannot see how much I have left. I know I have used this a lot over the years, so I don't know if I'm very near to the end. I still have so much product left. I am not sure. I don't even think this says how much product is in here on this. It's probably on the original box it came in. But again, this is a high-end eyeliner that I still really enjoy. And if I don't finish it, I may not feel like I've gotten my money's worth, whereas the Super Shock shadows, all but one have pan in them, and they are $5. If that makes sense, this is a Smashbox eyeliner. I'm thinking I will keep this and try to finish it off next year if it's not done by the end of this year. And you're gonna find my thoughts pretty similar across the board here. My oldest lip liner, following the Lord & Berry one I'm working on now, is this Essence lip liner in the shade Soft Berry. I will swatch this. I'm sure it's what you imagine from a berry lip liner. This was $2, $3, 7 years ago. And it is starting to have a bit more of that woody smell. It is a sharpenable pencil, but my Lord & Berry lip liner doesn't smell like this. So I think I'm ready to let it go. I'm having a really, really hard time panning a nude lip liner that I can wear every single day. There's no way I'm going to finish a dark berry lip liner and then also struggle through it for a $2 value on my makeup empties. Doesn't seem worth it to me. The two oldest lip glosses I have in my collection, the first is my NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Apple Strudel. I love this NYX Butter Gloss formula. I've used them up in the past. This one has lingered just because it is this kind of brighter pink shade. Obviously it's a gloss, so it's more sheer than this, but it's still quite obviously pink, and so I don't get as much use out of it. This still smells fine. I love this formula, but again, if maybe I'm choosing between these two, this is a Bare Minerals Marvelous Moxie Gloss in the shade Trailblazer. I'm currently working on this in my Graveyard Project pan as well. I've made some progress on this, and while I like this formula more, This has more of my money and time invested in this. So I think I would save the Bare Minerals over the NYX Butter Gloss going into next year to see which one I can finish. Let me know your thoughts on that below. The NYX Butter Gloss has 8 mils of product, which is absolutely insane, and I have no idea how much is in the Bare Minerals one, but it is moving so slowly. But it's a beautiful gloss. It's just not my most favorite formula, so it's not like I'm hate panning this by any means. But when looking at the two of these, I bought a high-end gloss way back when. I've been trying to pan it, like actively trying to pan it. I like the way it looks, so it's not my favorite. This is a $5 value gloss. So I'm leaning towards saving the Bare Minerals. We'll see how I feel at the end of the year. And lastly, my two oldest liquid lipsticks. The first is actually, I also have a drugstore and a high-end option, which is kind of funny. The Maybelline Vivid Matte Liquid in the shade in the shade 10 Nude Flush is in my whole collection project pan, and I've really been struggling to motivate myself to reach for this. Again, it's more of that pink shade, which I do like, but I liked more at the time when I was purchasing these products than I like it now. The formula is still fine. This is one of those liquefied lipsticks, very similar to the other one I'm going to share, where it's not a dry down matte finish. It's just kind of feels like a creamy bullet lipstick in liquid form. I don't love the smell of this product. It doesn't smell any different than it did when I bought it, but I don't really think this is worth it to try and finish. I think this would turn into hate panning, especially considering it's in a project now, and I really struggle to reach for it. If I'm reaching for it once or twice a month, that's a win. So I'm feeling ready to let this one go as well. And then something that, though knowing it's been on this list since January, is when I put this list of top 10 together, I still have not been motivated to reach for the Too Faced Melted Liquefied Longwear Lipstick in the shade Chihuahua. I did have a full size of the shade Fake, which is more of a purple shade, which I really did enjoy, but that one went bad. Oh, this doesn't smell quite right, but Fake smelled repulsive when I finally threw it out. All that's to say is I still have not been using this. Even though I have known it's at risk of being thrown out at the end of the year, there are 5 mils of liquid lipstick in this one, which feels like a lot for a mini. There's 7.7 mils of liquid lipstick in the Maybelline. I don't know if I will ever be someone that can completely pan a liquid lipstick, and that's okay. I have gotten use out of these in the years they've been in my collection, but again, I think it's going to be time to say goodbye. So as we have gathered my feelings right now, I still have 2 and a bit months to think through my decision, but I'm thinking I'm saving my Smashbox eyeliner and my Bare Minerals gloss if they're still lingering around by the end of the year. If I use up either of these before the end of the year, I have the opportunity to save something else. If that's the case, it will probably be my NYX Butter Gloss because I really do love that one, and everything else I'm feeling quite indifferent about and ready to declutter. Now I have 5 of my oldest powder makeup products, and with these I have a variety of goals. Very similar to Steph's project, I added this in after being inspired by her and having some goals, and these being so old, if they're not going to be a priority for me to be still reaching for, try and finish if that's the case, if they're just old and sitting there, they can go. So I have 2 single shadows. I have the Urban Decay Sin single. I don't know why I bought this. This is literally the oldest makeup product in my collection. It is officially 10 years old. I bought this in October of 2014. It has gotten a bit of use from me, but there is no pan, but the formula in here, and that's why I have a really hard time decluttering this. I spent good money on it, and the formula is still perfect. It's still exactly as it's always been. It's honestly incredible, and I think that goes to attest to like the differences between sometimes drugstore or affordable makeup and high-end makeup. This has lasted, has not expired at all. So Sin, and then I have the L'Oreal Infallible in the shade 2 Hourglass Beige. Very beautiful. It's kind of a loose pigment, but it has a stopper in there that I've kind of pressed things down. But this is a bit of a pain in the ass to use, to be honest. And not that the formula is difficult, but it's the packaging. So it's in this deep well, and I typically use my finger, but if I do want to use a brush, it's kind of a pain in the ass. And then I imagine if I'm trying to ever finish this, it would be so annoying. And I don't know, I just never find myself reaching for either of these. So that being said, I set a 10 use goal on these. If I cannot manage to use these 10 times in a year, why are they still here? Being as old as they are. That's not saying I reach for all of my individual shadows 10 plus times a year, but in order for me to save them, if I find it really hard with the thought of decluttering them, so especially with this Urban Decay one, I need to just prioritize using it 10 times. I have used these one time each. And that was in my No Pan Left Behind project because my individual shadows got rolled into that. So I have 2 more months. I'm feeling okay about decluttering the L'Oreal just because it's not my favorite component or shade. It's just a very basic shade. I'm feeling really hesitant about decluttering my oldest makeup product ever, because 10 years ago, this was a splurge. I was so excited to make a purchase at Sephora. I'm pretty sure Sephora was pretty new in Nova Scotia beyond being able to order online. And being able to go buy, I couldn't afford a Naked palette. And the most popular shade in that palette that I thought was Sin. So I bought Sin. So I think I am going to try my best to prioritize using this 9 more times. That was really long-winded. I have a very old face palette here. This is the Too Faced Cocoa Contour palette, and this was in a project pan. 2-hit pan on the shade Light Cocoa this year. I did do that. I reached for this probably 40 times so far this year, really showing it some love. And my goal in order to keep this, because it is so old but the formula still works, is I wanted to reach 100 total tracked uses. I started tracking my makeup usage in 2020. So 100 uses in the past 4-5 years felt good to me. Feels better than some of the other products, and I'm happy to say I have officially surpassed 100 tracked uses on this palette, so it deserves to stay in my collection for another year. Now it's still within this top 5 oldest products, so we will be seeing it in this style video for next year, but I will have a different goal. I'm thinking that I'm going to try and finish Light Cocoa next year and get some use on medium and dark cocoa, but once I finish Light Cocoa, I will be okay with getting rid of this palette and decluttering it. But for now, I'm going to focus on some other things, and this gets to stay. And lastly, I have a bronzer and a blush. My oldest bronzer in my collection is my Tarte Park Avenue Princess Waterproof Bronzer. This is in my Rolling Project 10 pan. As I think you guys know, I have made amazing progress on this mini bronzer this year. It is just a mini. It only has 3 grams of product in it. And I have been showing this a lot of love this year, and my goal is, of course, to finish it. Now in my notes I said finish it or declutter it. To be realistic, at this point I'm not going to give up on it, but that is the goal that I set, and I am really determined to meet that goal. But if I have the slightest bit left and need another month or two to get it done, I'm not going to throw this in the trash. Once again, it's not breaking me out. It smells fine, it performs fine, and I still think that this is a beautiful bronzer that I really enjoy using, but having it be an official empty and it being as old as it is will feel so good. And lastly, the most infamous product in my entire makeup collection is my Model Co. Peach Bellini blush. This has been in every single Graveyard project pan since that project began. I have been chipping away at this blush in project pans since 2018. It's my oldest blush in my collection. And it does have a pan on it, but it is very tiny and it's off to the side here, which I still think is just the strangest thing. My goal for keeping this in my collection was to use it at least 20 times this year, and I have used it 12 times, I believe. I think I did that correctly. I didn't write down my starting uses, which was foolish of me, but I think I've used this 12 times so far this year, so I am on track to using it 20 times before December 31st. So I do feel confident that this will remain in my collection. Once again, the formula is still fine. I do still think it's beautiful. It is a peachy pink, quite vibrant, glowy blush. I really still like it, and I have put so much time and effort into panning this blush. Not using it every day because that's not the type of panner I am, but I would love to just keep chipping away at this. As long as it's still performing and still working, keeping up with this 20, 30 uses at a time and then moving on and having a break has been working out so well for me, and maybe someday I could finish this. Who knows? But I have to use it 8 more times before the end of the year in order to keep it, and I don't think that that is going to be too hard for me. So that is the update for my These Products Will Self-Destruct. I am feeling pretty good about the progress I have made on a lot of these things. Most of them I have been using throughout the year here and there, even if I haven't found space for them within a project pan. I have been reaching for them some, especially like with those Super Shock shadows. I really wanted to use them at least a handful of times, knowing that they're on their last legs, see if they're worth saving like I felt that Kathleen Lights was last year. And unfortunately, I guess I have discovered that they're all pretty dry now, though they do still work. I just don't want to focus on them next year, and that's good for me. You guys know decluttering is really hard for me, but all of these products are old and I need to do better at letting some of these things go, move some old stuff out so I can work on things that don't feel crusty and dusty and that I'm more excited to use. So if you did enjoy watching today's video, give it a thumbs up so that I know, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!